This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I'm, of course, James Gonzalez. You follow me here on the Chair with James, among other social medias. Before we start the show, we'll go to our co-hosts here. We have Dragon Viper here. How are you today?
Still a little under the weather, a little better than yesterday. Been dealing with an earache, kind of an ear infection and all that. But other than that, I'm still here and I'm still doing this. So
it is great to have you here. Crispy Bacon, the one behind the scenes, among other shows. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to be back here doing the show, and I think we're going to have a fun show today.
Yeah, we're going to get down to all the business and everything else. First of all, let me give a rundown of the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network schedule of the week, because, I get sick of trying to guess and, get a headache from it. But anyway, let's start off with Monday, the press row with Callum McClurg. Of course, you heard him in the intro, talking about our sponsors and professionalism there, definitely. That'll be at 3 p.m. Pacific time on Monday. And then Bro Code at 10 p.m. Pacific time, also on Monday. That's a new, that took the place of Four Bros. So check that out. Tuesday is Between the Ropes for all your wrestling needs. And there's plenty of news on Wednesdays. The Rock is back. And he slapped some dude yesterday I saw in Vegas. And The Rock says...
we'll cover that on Tuesday.
That's definitely. So there's plenty going on in that world. Wednesday, you get Press Row again with Callum McClurg at 3 p.m. And then Sports Minute at 9 p.m. Pacific time. Thursday, you got Press Row again at 3 p.m. And then Creeping It Real every other week, mind you, at 5 p.m. on Coast to Coast Network Pacific time. And then also Kicking It later at 8 p.m. on Thursday night. Now, that one happened yesterday. It was definitely entertaining with a host of others there. Friday, you got Entertainment Hour here, of course, with the trio. Saturday, On Deck is back. Baseball will be back pretty soon. I think pitchers and catchers report next Wednesday coming up. I think it's Wednesday coming up on Valentine's Day. I think it is on Valentine's Day. Yeah. I don't know what to say about that, but I'll be, we'll be cutting, me and Chris and maybe some other people will come to preview the season, get down to business about that. I'm happy you put that in there, or else I would be lost. Also, be sure to check out Oregon Cougars women's football. That'll be on select Saturdays coming up soon.
Yes.
Excuse me. What league was that, Crispy Bacon?
Women's Football Association.
WFA. That's what it was. That's what I thought. And then Sunday, the last edition of the 2023 season, 2024 season of the Morning Tailgate. That will be this week. It'll be 11 a.m. I think Pacific time. We'll be previewing the Super Bowl that will come up on Sunday, and maybe we'll have some shows, I think, after that, recapping the season. Then we'll get into the off season and wonder,
Where
what
you go
will go
number
on.
one.
No. All right, so we had some unfortunate news in the entertainment business. So country singer and songwriter Toby Keith, who had been battling stomach cancer, died at 62 years of age. It was early Tuesday morning, the 5th. It was like, what, 4 something my time, was the announcement of his passing. So, and I'll ask the question how we will remember him. I'll remember him for some songs that he did, and he was in that time frame of country music in the 90s and 2000s, of course, where it was maybe the most popular when it came to everybody knowing the artists and the songwriters. I mean, there were some before, but it wasn't as mainstream, I think, until the 90s. That's just what I thought. But he's definitely one of those names that you will remember forever when it comes to that time of country. So we'll go to our country music fan here. I'm starting to get more into it. I mean, I have Sirius XM, and I keep going back to the country stations, and I noticed they're playing more Toby Keith songs. And I've been trying to get to know some of them more and more. Just a few seem familiar to me from back in the day. But let's go to Dragon Viper first. How will you remember Toby Keith?
And you mentioned about Toby being in that era of the 90s and 2000s, and his name, as from what I know, now I could be wrong, but his name, when you mention country music, his name is synonymous with people like George Strait and Garth Brooks. And so, I mean, absolutely a fabulous, excellent singer. And there are a few things I do remember, I will remember him by. I mean, he did show up at our county fair, which, our county fair isn't very known for, not anymore anyway, for top star singers. But he did end up showing up, and I did go to his concert there. And the thing is while I was there, I had my mom there, my younger brother was there, and my younger brother doesn't like country. He's more toward rap and other things, but even he went and he had a good time. He even ended up getting a guitar pick from Toby Keith when he was throwing out guitar picks. He ended up with one. So it was an amazing concert even. But he was I remember him as a proud American, because he absolutely loved his country and sided with people who just really love this country. So amazing singer, amazing songwriter. And I heard it the other day, I don't know where, but I heard it the other day, and they're right that there's not going to be another one like him. So just amazing all around.
All right, Crispy Bacon, how will you remember country singer Toby Keith?
No, he was a great country singer. He loved America. I mean, he had a few songs written about, the USA during all those rough times. And, I think, he loved doing what he did, country singing, and loved the fans. So I think he's going to be missed.
Yeah, it seems like country, it's a definite strong genre. Maybe not like what it used to be, but during that time, I can remember, I forget the country station name in LA, but the radio station, I think there was maybe one in LA at the time growing up, And I remember he was, part in the commercial, and then, you had Shania and Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson and Strait and McGraw and Faith Hill, just in this commercial, and I always remember it forever. So now let's get to a top 10 list of his songs. I can only name three that came to mind that was familiar, just because I was never into country as much. I am kind of now, just because there were some stations here on the Sirius XM, and lately I've been hearing songs that are familiar from the past. I'm like, okay, I remember this one, I remember that one. So when I was going back and going through his playlist, three definitely came to mind. So for me, I'll start off because I only have three. But How Do You Like Me Now? I always remember that one. And I watched the video too the other day, and I never remembered seeing the video. But it's pretty cool the way that they talk about he talks about a high school kid not being noticed, and then basically being noticed. It's almost like also what I like about it seems like country videos, they told stories. It seems like, hip hop and rap used to do that, or rap used to do that. They definitely don't now. I don't think anyone does. But it seemed like rap and country, they definitely told stories. They really broke it down. And in this music video, and in the song "How You Like Me Now," that's definitely one there. Red Solo Cup. Now I remember this being a certified banger back in the late 2000s or whenever it was, 2010s, and just how important Red Solo Cups are to a party. And I never really noticed it until I saw the video the other day. How many uses you could get out of it. Just little fun things like that. So the video was very fun. And then Crispy Bacon, Chris Nelly on the Head. No, about your message about America and how much he loved it, right? So there was the video of Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. So I never saw the video before, but he was on those USO tours, visiting with the military, probably Afghanistan, Iraq, who knows where. But he was going through that. He was on the freaking helicopter going through these mission areas, I guess. So I thought that was really badass when you think about it. And like you alluded to, Chris, that's how much I think he loved America. So that was really cool to see. All right, so let's go to Dragon Viper. If you have a top 10 list of his songs, I would love to hear it.
I grew up around country. I mean, my mother loved country, and so I grew up around it. Even my dad loved the older stuff, like the 70s and 80s, the Johnny Cash, the Hank Williams Sr., things like that. So I know basically a lot about country, and one of the artists, because in my opinion, Toby Keith is in my top 10 of greatest of all time country singers. I think he's like number 4, number 5 in there. So he's so I know way more than 20 of his songs. So, but I did do, the top 10 and 3 honorable mentions. I had to, because it's hard to choose for me. Anyway, I'm going to start off with honorable mentions and go down to number 1, because, anyway. First off, honorable mentions is Hate Me If You Want To. Good song. A little less talk and a lot more action. I believe that was his first single that came out. And then Wish I Didn't Know. Those were my honorable mentions. Number 10, Who's Your Daddy? Number 9, We Were in Love. Number 8, I'm Just Talking About Tonight. Number 7, A Little Too Late. Number 6, Whiskey Girl. Number 5, Beer for My Horses, if I could talk. Let's see. Number 4, I Love This Bar. Number 3, American Soldier. Number 2, Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, because, that's got to be in almost everybody's top list that likes them. And number 1, Red Solo Cup.
There we go.
So there's my top 10 right there.
That's awesome that you have the cup. I don't have one, but Crispy Bacon, do you have your list ready?
Yeah, kind of like you, James. I don't have a red Solo cup, but it is in my list. I did see a post or a couple posts going around when the news of his passing was revealed, and they're just doing like a tribute thing, posting the red Solo cup, and I thought that was good. Another one on my list is I can't. Hold on. There we go. Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. Red Solo Cup. Let's see. American Soldier. Those would probably be my 3.
All right. So, yeah, we'll remember Toby Keith forever. His music will live on forever, and I think that's a great thing because at least they leave on something you'll remember that'll be forever, obviously. Chrissy Wilson mentions Courtesy of Red, White, and Blue is her favorite personal Toby Keith song, and also Beer for My Horses is another good one she mentions. I will take a look at all of them, and she says, ironically, Beer for My Horses became a television movie that he and Willie Nelson starred in. And I found out, I think the other day, Willie Nelson is like 90 something or 80 something. I forget how old he is, but I'm like thinking to myself, man, I never realized how old he is. And then Brandon Herrera, you can see him on many of our shows here. He says, rest in peace to Toby. Yeah, Willie Nelson, 90 years of age, and he's still out there in the news. I forget what for, but you can bet that he has a lot of friends. Yeah. So definitely we'll remember Toby, and we'll move on here to our next topics here. Of course, unless you live under a rock, at least you're warm, staying warm. The Super Bowl is on Sunday. Super Bowl 58. The San Francisco, I don't even want to say their names.
San Francisco 49ers.
Ew, thank you. Say it for me. Say the other team for me, too, please.
And Kansas City Chiefs.
Thank
San Francisco 49ers versus Taylor Swift.
you.
Yeah. I remembered for you, Dragon Viper, not to have a Taylor Swift topic in the show tonight, and hopefully moving forward. I will mention, however, she is doing her world tour right now. She is in Tokyo. She will be there in time for the game, or maybe a little late. Who knows? Will they, clear traffic for her? Who knows? But she will be there to root her man on. Let's not talk about that, though, even though I just did. Let's talk about some commercials that, are going to be during the game in the breaks. And what's sad is, you can find these commercials here on the website I have was Entertainment Tonight. So they have links to where you can find it on YouTube. So you don't have to wait to watch the big game to see these commercials. Yeah, and I haven't clicked them on. I'm going to be old school and just watch them when they come on, basically. Because a lot of them have been unique in the past. A lot of them have made, statements, or they've been really funny,
I guess I did see one, but it wasn't really, it's a commercial, but it's not really, impactful.
Eventually, I remember either the day before, so it'd be tomorrow, on YouTube, the commercials will come on. And you'll notice, like, wait, I haven't seen this commercial. It's longer than, a regular commercial. Sometimes you can't skip it on YouTube. And it's something you're going to see Saturday, but you don't have to wait for it. It's right there for you. So let's get into some of these. So Vince Vaughn and Tom Brady will have a Super Bowl. It's the BetMGM big game commercial. It's funny how some advertisers cannot use the words Super Bowl, so they have the big game or Super.
Yeah.
I don't even know Super Sunday if that's copywritten, but I wouldn't try it if I was anyone. So it's Jason Sudeikis who came out from hiding. He usually doesn't do interviews or anything like that unless it's movies, basically. We know him, of course, from the Apple TV soccer show or series. I'm blanking on it right now, but
the one that just came out.
No, it's been on for a good 3 years or so. But he's a American football coach, but he goes to England or wherever and be a soccer coach. I'm blanking on it, but that's one of them. Yeah, I totally forgot because I've never seen it. And then Tina Fey, who I think the last time I was on here said I still have a crush on her, but she has a Super Bowl commercial. It'll be Booking.com. Again, I don't know why, but
I've seen a couple commercials of her in that commercial slot, but it's not like a Super Bowl commercial. But
again, the one that I remember was like 17 or 18, 16, whenever it was. She's window shopping and she sees a yoga display. She basically mimics the what do you call that stand that's right there in a public mannequin? Duh. So she basically mimics the mannequin right there. It kind of reminds me of one of my favorite movies, by the way. Maybe I shouldn't bring it up too much because I'm forgetting too much. But Mannequin, if you ever seen that, I absolutely love that movie, and maybe I'll preview it one day or recap it. Jenna Ortega, she's got to be an actress. I think she was in the Addams Family, the Little Girl series. She also has a Super Bowl commercial. Kris Jenner, who never goes away, she'll have one for Oreo cookies. I don't know why. Christopher Walken, if you can believe it, and Usher has a BMW commercial. I haven't seen Walken in anything for a while. If you remember Christopher Walken, he was always in those SNL, or he would host SNL a good amount of times, and he would always have his eye crooked toward the cue card, just like I would. And hopefully none of you viewers will notice it or just look away. But he'll look over here, reading the cue card, but the camera will be over here. And if you go back and look up the cowbell sketch from like 97, 98, I think it was 99. You'll just notice that, how he's the executive producer or something. He's like, hey, I got a fever. And he looks at the camera. It's for more cowbell. So he kept having to, go back and forth. And it's just one of those things I remember with Christopher Walken. Chris Pratt, who we haven't really seen in a while, has a Pringles commercial. His mustache looks like the Pringles guy. So that'll be interesting there. I don't know who Addison Rae is, but we'll find out in a Nerds candy commercial. David and Victoria Beckham Jr. for Uber Eats. And that has brought out some controversy because of a peanut allergy seen in that commercial. The people who are sensitive to allergies came out against that. So that's already creating some controversy. Jennifer Aniston will have a Uber Eats commercial. Aubrey Plaza, who's been hot as of late with movies and a series, she'll have a Mountain Dew Baja Blast commercial. That's really good. Peyton Manning will have something with Post Malone on Bud Light. Yeah. And then let's go. Oh, that's it. But any of these you would want to see, or after we get off the show, would you want to look at and laugh at? I'll start off with Chris.
I like Peyton Manning, and we'll go Bud White.
I really used to not like Peyton Manning because I thought he was such a nerd when it came to football. But damn it, he was a student of the game. He was a great entertainer. When he hosts shows, award shows, and he does these commercials,
I liked
it's really entertaining.
I liked his SNL skit.
Oh, yes, with the United Way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should throw the ball or catch the ball or something like that.
That's a good one. When he hosted, I think the ESPYs one year, is real savage with that. When he does the Monday night show with his brother, I always watch that version. So, Dragon Viper, any of these stand out to you?
I'd like to see the Jennifer Aniston Uber Eats one.
I know we haven't seen her, other from the Olay lotion commercials or makeup commercials. We haven't seen her in really much.
I really like Jennifer Aniston, so yeah, I'd like to see her commercial.
Age is not defining her there. Brandon Herrera mentions that sounds like Dragon Viper read long note while trying to pick up a lady at the bar. Okay, you have a response.
Only if you've ever been at the bar with me, Brandon, you would really know.
That's funny. Something came up the other day about, I think it was one of these Instagram reels. I get lost in them when you're just sitting there. But it was about one guy, just sitting at the bar, and he's not like trying to pick up women, or he's not trying to do anything. He's just waiting for his, boys and to hang out with them. And women were coming after him because they were saying, well, you should be, doing what a man does and not just having a boys' night out. But it's kind of contradicting because, when women have a girls' night out, they don't want any man interfering with it. So it's just, I don't know. That's just what I've seen. So let's get to something I've really enjoyed looking up. And it's all these categories here. But our favorite Super Bowl commercial of all time. Now, there was many to choose for me.
Yeah.
And there's some I couldn't remember, and those I've tried to come up with, but it's been really tough. For me, though, I think it was the What's Up, the Budweiser commercials from back in the day. I think there was like 2 or 3 of them. I just remember one on the Super Bowl where they're on the phone or whatever. Many tried to imitate it back in the day, so I always remember that. Chris, what was your favorite Super Bowl commercial of all time?
And Super Bowl commercials are, besides the game, depending on who's in it, is probably the best part. I'm going to have to, as annoying as it is, I'm going to have to go with that talking stain one. Where they put the stain on and like the person talks and they kind of talk on the shirt.
Wow.
I remember that one.
Talking stain one.
Yeah.
Okay. Dragon Viper, what's your favorite Super Bowl commercial of all time?
I have to go with the frogs. I always like the frogs Budweiser commercials, and so I love those frogs, and I'll go with them every year.
Budweiser back then has been really good.
Clydesdales were good.
Yeah.
What was his name? Terry Tate in that office linebacker one? Yeah. Okay, I'm watching now the Tide Talking Stain Super Bowl ad. And I do not remember it, but it's funny as hell. Yeah. Wow. Okay, yeah, I kind of remember that one. But
and I think they're bringing the Geico caveman back.
They are.
That's right.
I just saw it on Hulu just a little bit ago.
Well, they've been teasing little commercials for the
They've
past
been bringing
few
it back little by little.
Yeah.
Except they're not. They're going. It's so easy, but then they'll be like,
Well,
well,
you know. Yeah.
But they won't
Right.
say so easy a caveman will do it. No, they'll go and they'll say it's so easy. Well, and then the commercial will end.
And what's crazy is at the height of those commercials for Geico, they did a TV show based on the caveman. Like they based on the
That's
Geico
right.
caveman.
Now,
Basically.
was the Chipmunks commercial, was that a Super Bowl commercial with them?
Maybe.
Remember where they make the car crash and then they do a little handshake or whatever?
I don't remember it.
I don't think so. I think that was in the movie, I thought.
Yeah. I have it here and it's just a commercial, but I don't remember if it was a Super Bowl commercial though. But that's one I really like just because the Chipmunks, one's going across the street, car comes trying to swerve and it crashes. Another chipmunk comes over, looks and sees a car crash, and then they pound fists and all that. 2001. So they brought it back, I think. But I don't remember if it was a Super Bowl or not back in 2001.
What about the Betty White Super Bowl commercial where she
the Snickers one.
Yeah,
that's also a good one too. It was hard to just trim down to one, honestly. So throughout the game and the commercials in the first half, we all know what's in the middle and what is elongated, the halftime show. So, for most people, of course, that is, well, not most, I should say, but for people that really aren't into the football as much as the commercials, there is the halftime show. And, I was looking through the list of the Super Bowl shows in the past. They have become more tailored to, tailored to younger crowds or certain genres. Only one, basically. But it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of, now I haven't watched one in a while. But it's tailor-made to the younger crowds now. But they used to have, if you can't believe this, they used to have marching bands do the halftime shows when it first came up.
And I think Michael Jackson was the first, I could be wrong, but I think he was like the first performer to do a halftime.
That's why I forgot to look up. Because I went through all of them, but only to a certain time. When I started seeing marching bands, I I started to turn away.
Disney did one. One time.
See, I didn't know that. There were some that I either was too young or I didn't care, and I should have, because there were some good ones, and I just didn't watch them, and I should have. But there's been some good ones, but some I didn't watch, basically. So there were marching bands up until, let's see, 19... Kaleidoscope? Wow. There was always, like, theatrical purposes to this, but that would salute, like, certain things, but never any performers up until...
Michael Jackson.
I have here 1991. That was the Giants and the Bills, and that was Norwood, hitting wide left or right. It was New Kids on the Block, Disney characters. So that probably was the first one, and then it went on from there.
But I mean, like for a solo.
Yeah, it was Michael Jackson. You're right. 93 when the Cowboys destroyed the Bills. I think it was 52-14 or 10. At the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, the first of that back-to-back there.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. The first one was there, and then the Super Bowl after, it was country themed. It was Clint Black, Tanya Tucker, Travis Tritt, and the Judds. So There was something for everybody back then, and then after that, it was kind of a mix of R&B, Motown, and then they started to get into some other popular groups. There was one that I should have watched, but I was, oh man, this is unfortunate too because it has Shania Twain, No Doubt, and Sting all doing the last time the Raiders were in the Super Bowl back in 2003 in San Diego. And of course, we all will remember in 2004 the Janet Jackson unfortunate
malfunction,
indecent exposure when Justin Timberlake basically teared off too much. They got the idea, I think, from Lil' Kim. She had a sticker or something on her, you know what, and they try to duplicate that. And I don't think it was supposed to show the whole thing. Anyway, let's get to our favorite shows. For me, it was definitely the only one I could think of, and the one I literally paid attention to because I felt like she was normal. She looked normal at the time. Was Lady Gaga back in 2016. This, of course, was the Super Bowl in Houston when the Patriots came back on the Falcons 28-3. And you know what happened from there. I was pissed. I was drunk. I was pissed that Brady won the Super Bowl. I felt bad for the Atlanta fans. But the Super Bowl show with Lady Gaga, and that was at the time she had a little belly. I mean, I have a big one, but she was showing a little. There was a little there, but I just thought that was more appealing for me to her. So that was really good. Chrissy Wilson mentions that 1993 Michael Jackson show was the best of all time for her. Back to the Gaga though, that was the one. She jumped from the roof, if you recall. And she was on the string or whatever, on a rope, and she jumped down to the stage below. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? Because I think, I can't remember it was the beginning of it. It probably was. But they show her just jumping off the edge of the whole of the stadium. I'm like, what?
Wasn't that one at MetLife?
No, Houston, where the Texans play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one, I can't remember. Oh, but that game was such a blowout, the one in New Jersey, that I don't remember watching the fourth quarter. I don't remember watching halftime. I think me and my friends went to go throw the ball around. So, and that's why I've been doing the last however many Super Bowls, because I just don't care about the shows anymore. But Dragon Viper, let's get to your favorite halftime Super Bowl show of all time.
You know, I looked some up because honestly, I don't remember any of them. I mean, there's a couple I do remember, but I had to look most of them up to make sure that, you know, if I could remember them or if I actually liked them. But I have to go with the 2022 one. The one with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and 50 Cent. I thought, you know, collectively, all the entire show was put on very well. I thought that everything was, I mean, you know, I don't know how, and the thing is I don't know how rappers do it. They go and they do a show like this, or they do a show where, you know, the younger generation, younger kids are watching, and they can go and like censor themselves when they're, you know, rapping their songs. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching it going, how are they stopping themselves from cussing? Me, I would be rapping and not even thinking about it, and then all of a sudden, next thing I know, a word is out on accident. And, you know, I don't know how these guys do it, but
I think the production truck does that, like CBS or whoever.
If they forget, yeah.
So, but yeah, I absolutely, I thought that that show in 2022 was absolutely awesome, put together, and they look great together. So
now I don't I still haven't watched that show. You know why? I had to work that morning until about 2. So I wanted to watch the game mostly because I knew I could watch the halftime show like later on YouTube. But I just never got to it because I had other shows to do on another network about the game. So I actually never seen the show. I've seen little bits and pieces, of course. There's a lowrider. I think the only person missing from that lineup was Ice Cube, and I was hoping we would see him in Vegas this year. But I was just
You
thinking of
might.
all the West Coast guys. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. They would have announced it though, I think. But I was just thinking to myself, they're in Inglewood, California. That's where Ice Cube grew up. It would have been an easy put in. I do also remember 50 Cent. I think he was hanging
Yep.
upside down, and you could tell he got a little bit older, a little bit bigger. But it was cool to see him, doing in the club. I think it was Snoop all dressed up in blue, and I think they just know from doing concerts or TV show appearances, they just know how to censor themselves in doing the radio version or the radio edit, and they just know that, hey, I can't say certain things. So it's very cool. That's a good note that you mentioned, Dragon Viper, about that. Because nowadays it seems like nobody cares. I mean, you could do sports interviews, you could do live concerts or TV concerts, and they try to censor themselves, so they just don't care. And therefore, what Chris mentioned about the production truck or the production crew, they have to silence the noise basically from there in order for those words not to get out. Anyway,
Yeah.
Chris Dickon, what's your favorite halftime show of all time? Super Bowl.
You probably have to go to, let me think, Super Bowl, I want to say 41 with the Colts and Bears. Prince was in it. The stadium was pouring rain, had an electric man, I can't speak, guitar. People were nervous that he was going to get shocked because he was using that electric guitar. And that's also the one I watched live for the first time. I mean, I've seen the other ones, but live, that would be my first one.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
I remember that Super Bowl because I had to work that afternoon and evening. But every once in a while, I would go to, because the grocery store was so dead. Because everybody's watching the game, of course, or having parties. So I would go back and forth up to the break room to catch a little bit of it here and there until I was called back down. I think my manager at the time knew, like, oh yeah, you're a fan, so yeah, you go back and forth if we're dead like that. So shout out to him. But I did not catch I still haven't seen that show. I have it saved on my YouTube watch later, which I have 600 other videos to go through.
Wow.
I'm a hoarder when it comes to watch later videos and favorite videos too.
And one of those players just got into Hall of Fame.
Dwight Freeney of the
Actually,
Colts.
two players.
And Evan Hester, who started that game off with a kickoff return. And I believe that was the only Super Bowl with rain that I know of. I can't recall another one.
I don't think
I can't think of one, but I know there was another one in Miami, before they renovated it. But I don't think there was any rain, and that was also the Colts against the Saints. But and I didn't even really think about it with Prince and the Rain, Purple Rain, and the guitars, the electronic stuff, and all that. The risk of that. That just shows how much of a professional that he really was, and I really enjoyed his songs, and he'll be missed, just like Toby Keith will be. So let's go to really quick previewing or recapping a movie or a TV show series that we saw. I guess I'll start off first. just right now when I got home, Cocktail was on. Now this is a movie with Tom Cruise back in 1998. Elizabeth Shue is also in it, and Brian Braun Brown is his friend, or was his friend, co-worker. It's about Tom Cruise, I think, being I think he's a stockbroker at one time. It's not working out. He tries to go back to college. He's like 20s, early 20s. He's trying to find his way in life, and then he ends up, trying to work at a bar, and that's where he meets Doug. And then, Doug shows him around. Tom Cruise, who is Brian Flanagan, he eventually drops out of college, becomes a successful bartender with Doug, and they have their own place and they have success. And then jealousy gets into their way, and then those two have a fight or something. I think Doug eventually, passes out or gets beat up or something, and they both end up somewhere, either the Bahamas, and they meet up again, but they don't, work together. That's where Elizabeth Shue comes in, hangs out with Tom Cruise, and jealousy comes over that too. So it's just the realness of being in business, where you can't, after a while, trust everyone, and that's what I felt like in that movie. And then also last week I saw Cornbread, Earl, and Me. This was back in 1975. It had a young, what's his name? A young Lawrence Fishburne. He was a little boy. He was about maybe 8 or 9 years old. Because basically, Cornbread was this fictional high school player going to college for basketball, and he gets killed by the police, a mistaken identity, and we just seen this in real life all the time happening. Bernie Casey is one of the officers. You remember him in Revenge of the Nerds, among other movies. But Cornbread, the player, he's played by actual NBA player Keith Jamal Silk Wilkes, and it was I think the only movie that he was in I could think of. But Cornbread, Earl, and Me, it was part of the Black History Month thing going on TCM. So I really enjoy those days or those nights where they play, what would it be called? Just older movies, but not as old as the 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s. Like they do in the daytime. Believe me, yeah. They go back, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s even. And okay, that's kind of like the generations I like. I don't do the silent films.
No. That irritates me.
Yeah. Crispy Bacon, it was something you've seen lately or something that you want to watch?
On TV, I did see You Got Mail. I know we talked about it a couple times.
I've never seen. Damn it!
I love that movie.
It was good. Funny parts to it. Yeah, there were some funny parts to it. Basically chatting over, I guess, AOL, the chats and stuff. Trying to meet somebody, and they see each other, but I don't think they've recognized each other at first. But then they get to,
So nowadays, that's like catfishing and Instagramming a DM asking for certain pics. Did I say too much? Yeah, I did. Dragon Viper, what's your program or movie that you've seen or you want to see?
Okay, so I gotta say this. I hadn't watched really a movie all week. I've been sick. I've been, dealing with a bunch of things, dealing with work. And a funny thing is, a friend of mine, a coworker, had talked about how she had talked to another coworker about not watching a certain movie, and the coworker's like, I hadn't seen it, so she ended up watching it. Well, it got in my head, all right, I'm going to watch it too because I really like this movie. And so I went ahead and watched it. Lil Nicky from 2000, Adam Sandler, Rodney Dangerfield, I like that movie, and so because they had to put it in my head of, hey, now I have to watch it. So, but yeah, I watched M. Sandler's Little Nicky, um, and about was it Satan's son going to Earth and trying to live as a human and make his dad proud and everything else. So, I love it. A lot of Adam Sandler movies I love anyways. So, I mean, hey, I had to watch it after it got put in my head.
I was never allowed to watch like any movies that were like Adam Sandler's until a certain age. I was really cornered.
See, my dad used to be a little more lenient, so I did watch, a couple different shows that maybe I probably shouldn't have, and I think that was one of them. But also, there were some that I waited till I was 18 before I watched. So,
yeah, I just remember, my family or whomever be like, oh yeah, you can't see that movie. No, it's it's under 14 or it's TV 14 or NC 17 or.
Well, see, it helped. I turned 18 in 2003, so I mean, I enjoyed it.
I miss that time. I don't know. I get too nostalgic when it comes to things from like 20 years ago because everything sucks now, basically. Anyway, let's talk about our favorite music album of the week. So the one I picked is Pearl Jam's 10 album. This was back in 1991, I want to say. And it had just so many of their hits. Once was, of course, the first song. Even Flow, Alive. Those are two of their big hits of all time. Why Go, Black and Jeremy, that's two of their best hits as well. Oceans, if you're wanting kind of a smooth song, that's one of the good ones. Then you get into Porch and Garden, and that's really a theatrical song. And then Deep and then Release is a good one to end the album, especially if you're trying to like fall asleep. Put on Release by Pearl Jam. It's perfect. It's one of my favorite bands of all time, and it's last the hands of time for me. I'll start with Dragon Viper. What's your music album of the week?
My music album of the week is, no surprise, Garth Brooks, No Fences from 1990. It has songs like The Thunder Rolls, Friends in Low Places, Wild Horses. That's absolutely an album I can watch listen to constantly, and I actually own it too. So
was that his breakout album? Do you know?
No.
In the mainstream,
I don't remember what his breakout album is, but it definitely was not that one.
Because I remember a couple of those songs. Like everybody knows, Friends in Low Places.
His first one was Hungry Years, which I actually never heard of. But it was in 89.
Wow. Okay, so he's been around a while. Chris, what's yours?
Yeah, I don't really have an album, but it happened 60 years ago today.
What year is this? 63?
I believe
63, 64.
60. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, 64. I'm stuck in last year. Okay, so February 9th, 64?
Yeah.
What genre is it, or what?
I guess you would say.
Oh, the Beatles came over, right?
Yep.
Wow, because all I could think about was like 64. It was like when everybody went crazy back then. And then I think probably days later was the first time everybody saw him on television on the Ed Sullivan
The
Show.
Sullivan Show. Yeah.
So that's the only reason. That's the only way I could like think about something.
When
You know,
show
they
was
were-
on, it's like pop maybe. I don't know. Band.
Yeah.
What
They
band?
became They became the most popular thing ever. So let's get to our top 10 football movie list. Now, this one I had a really hard time with after a while, but I'll start off with Wildcats. This was in 1986, 87. It had Goldie Hawn going through a divorce, and then she was, I think, the PE teacher at first. It was an inner city Chicago school. And she became the football coach, and somehow she got these ragtag, misdemeanor guys, kids to become great football players and win the championship and all that. Actually, not stars, but it has Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, and of course they went on to do White Men Can't Jump. So it's funny how those two got in there. Bernie Casey, I believe, is the principal. No, not Bernie Casey. Someone else very popular that looks just like him almost is the principal in that movie. It's a really good one. It's a really good, it's almost like a family one if certain things didn't happen, when it comes down to the inner city. But it's a really real one, I think, for me. But it's comedy. My favorite one of all time, though, is Remember the Titans. And it's a good one because it's race mixing, the whole thing with Alexandria, Virginia. Denzel Washington, Bill Paxton is in it. A host of other, people that play the high school kids. I forget her. The young girl, Hayden Panettiere, is a young girl. She went on to do other stuff, and it's just a real groundbreaking movie at the time. So I will stop, and whenever that comes on, I will definitely watch that. Let's see. The next one I have here is The Replacements. Now, if you're ever on cable TV or wherever, this movie will come up on CMT, VH1, MTV, because they don't play music videos anymore. But this movie will eventually come up. And if you like comedy and if you like sports, I think it's a great movie for you. It's based off the 1987 NFL strike, but of course they couldn't use NFL stuff. So Keanu Reeves is the quarterback. Gene Hackman is the head coach that has to, have these replacement players ready to go and play. It's a really good one. Friday Night Lights, this was back in, I want to say 2004 or 3. It's about the Texas high school Perryman Tigers, I want to say. Billy Bob Thornton is the head coach. There's a host of others in it. But it's basically a really good dramatization of what high school football is in Texas and how big it is and how real it is. Little Giants. This was like 92, 93, I want to say. 93 probably. I think it was set in Ohio, but Rick Moranis is the coach of this Pee Wee football team that's really, small. They go up against Ed O'Neill, him from Modern Family and Married with Children, is his brother, and they're the rivals that are the Cowboys. They're literally the little New York football Giants.
Oh yeah.
It's a really fun movie. Good movie to motivate kids to do stuff. My favorite part in that, and there's Icebox, of course, the girl that is the linebacker. She does everything for the team. But when the NFL players come off the Madden Cruiser and teach them how to play football and not how to be afraid of others, I really enjoy that because Tim Brown is in there. I believe Howie Long, Emmitt Smith. But I love John Madden, so that part always gets to me there. The program, okay, so this one was kind of groundbreaking. I think it was 94, 95, sometime around there. I forget who the coach is, but it's a really good dramatization of what college football used to be. The cheating, the steroids, playing through injuries, the pain, the steroid rage that people would go through, the the realness of how they treated women off campus. It gets real, definitely. Another real one to me, again, as a dramatician, is Any Given Sunday. Now, this one I saw a while back, and it was really good. Al Pacino's the old head coach of the Miami Sharks. Cameron Diaz is the owner of the team and puts pressure on him to win. Jamie Foxx, I believe, is the quarterback, and then LL Cool J is the running back. And believe it or not, these two fought on set because of their egos. It was just the craziest thing when I heard this. Dennis Quaid is the old quarterback who's being replaced by Jamie Foxx. So it has some theatrical parts in there too, and some really cool stadium designs, like the field they have in Irving, Texas, where the Cowboys used to play. They made the field look very futuristic. It's really cool. Necessary Roughness. This is one of my favorite ones too. Scott Bakula is I want to say 30-something-year-old quarterback. He walks on at this program. He had a year of eligibility. I want to say it's North Texas or West Texas, South. I forget, but
where at is it?
No, it's a fictional college or university. But North Texas is the actual one, the Mean Green. I think maybe they based it off of that.
Okay.
But I love that movie because it has Sinbad in there. I think he's one of the offensive linemen. Rob Snyder is the announcer. You might find him annoying, saying fumble. Kathy Ireland is on the women's soccer team, and they have the kicker get hurt or something. But she actually joins the football team and kicks field goals. And that was pretty cool back then, seeing that. You have the principal trying to eliminate the football program because he believes more in the school part of the university. So it's a funny back and forth how they keep him away from things. The Water Boy, of course, with Adam Sandler and Henry Winkler as the coach that's timid. I can always remember there's so many great parts in that movie, but the one where it's like the 70s and he has this playbook of great plays that he drew up, and the old coach, the rival coach at the time, his assistant or whatever, comes and steals it, and he's just so heartbroken from then. They end up beating that team with that coach who stole his playbook. Waterboy has so many of his, friends and actors you'll see in all of his movies, which is cool. Kathy Bates plays his mom, and I forget the woman's name that becomes Bobby's girlfriend, Bobby Boucher's girlfriend. I've always found her, very nice, very beautiful looking. But she's crazy too. I really enjoy that movie. All the funny parts in there, where Sandler just goes after everyone, even Colonel Sanders, the teacher or whatever. Or he does that wrestling move where he pokes the opponent in the eye or his teammate in the eye in practice. And then my last one is basically almost all of the 30 for 30 ESPN films. They have some great ones. I couldn't just pick one. They have The U, straight out of LA, about the Raiders, their time in Southern California. The U Part 2, a lot of college ones, the USFL, just so many. I couldn't name all of them. I couldn't name just one, but the U to me definitely stood out. It's basically a documentary, all of them. I really, really enjoyed it. So let's start with Chris. What's your favorite top 10 movies, football of all time?
So football of time, we'll go 10 through 1. Number 10's Replacements. 9 would be Invincible. Number 8, We Are Marshall. Number 7 is Jerry Maguire. 6 would be The Longest Yard, the 1974 version.
Oh, wow.
Any Given Sundays, number 5. 4 would be The Blind Side. Still a good movie after what we know now.
That's what deterred me away from that, because I'm like, I don't want to do it.
Right. 3, Friday Night Lights. 2 would be Rudy. And 1, Remember the Titans.
Good. What I hate about Rudy, not only because it's Notre Dame and I'm of course a USC fan, but the real play, it was kind of dramatized for a movie, but it wasn't like as theatrical as the movie came out to be. But it is a good one, the way that they show him trying to make the team, all the things he has to go through being small. So I guess that's good, but I hate Notre Dame. So, Dragon Viper, what's your top 10 favorite football movies?
All right, I'm going to start off with the honorable mention like normal. Rudy, Varsity Blues, and Little Giants. And then number 10, Jerry Maguire. 9, Facing the Giants. 8, Radio. 7, The Game Plan. It is funny in the game plan to see The Rock in a tutu. I just have to say that.
That's right. I forgot all about that.
Let's see. So 6, I have The Blind Side. 5, now this is based around football and the Super Bowl, so I put it down. Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so that was number 5. Number 4, Varsity Blues. Number 3, Waterboy. Or did I say 4? No, sorry, I mixed it up. Varsity Blues was honorable mention. Number 4 was The Comebacks. Number 3 is Waterboy. Number 2, Gridiron Gang. And number 1, The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler.
That's all. Yeah, that's awesome movies. Now, I've seen Varsity Blues, but I can't remember it all. But that's also a good look into also Texas football. It's also kind of funny in a way too. So it's funny how they kind of mix that together. I saw that maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, just parts of it, I should say. Anyway, we're really past the hour mark, but we had a lot of fun. We, gave our thoughts on Toby Keith. We went through the Super Bowl happenings, and it was a great entertainment hour for sure. Crispy Bacon, I guess we'll have our final thoughts now.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. Great show tonight. Stay tuned to Coast to Coast. You don't know what's going to happen, and just stay tuned.
All right, Dragon Vibe.
Yeah, just like Chris said, thank you for everybody watching and commenting. I had a good night with the show. And one last time, rest in peace, Toby Keith. And I hope everybody has a great night.
Yeah, same sentiments from both of you. For me, it was great doing the show tonight, and great at topics here, just with what's going on. Be sure to tune in next week here, morning tailgate on Sunday sometime for the Super Bowl, and then all the shows during the week that we mentioned at the top of the hour. So thank you for watching Entertainment Hour. Please like, follow, subscribe to Coast Entertainment Network so you can comment along with the shows. Thank you to all whom did. Christy, Brandon, I believe.
My mom, Jean.
Oh, there we go. Jean, yes. I think that was all, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Can't remember anybody else that came up. But thank you for watching, everybody, on the Entertainment Hour. Everyone take care. Bye.